This is 9 News at 6.
Hey folks, and happy 4th of July to you. Thanks for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Jaron Jordan in for Tiana DeQuano. Unfortunately, you've probably had to dodge some thunderstorms this 4th of July, but are tonight's fireworks plans in any danger? Let's get right to meteorologist Jeff Morrow in our first alert forecast. Hey Jeff.
Thanks, Jaron. As you take a look at radar over the last 6 hours, many of you having to dodge a couple rounds of showers and thunderstorms. In fact, many were under a severe thunderstorm warning at one time. We saw a number of those warnings issued through the afternoon, and you can see not all the wet weather is over just yet, but a few little sprinkles remain around the Baton Rouge metro area. Look at all the number of reports of storm damage across the local area, and then there was this interesting video out of North Walker. You can see this sort of mystery cloud. What we can see is actual sort of a spin or rotation, very broad circulation with this cloud kind of moving around, and these low-hanging clouds are what we call scud, and they're essentially getting trapped or entrained into the broad circulation of this. So is this a funnel cloud? Probably not, but it's more or less just a very interesting situation that we saw. Now when we look at the radar back at that point around 12:55, you can kind of see a little bit of that purple shade right there. That's sort of a error in the radar signature, so we can't really tell, but it does look like where we sort of see some of those reds and grays where they meet with the greens. That could be the signs of some very broad rotation. So could there have been a spinning cloud over in Walker? Yeah, that's certainly possible, but it doesn't look like it made of anything in terms of a tornado or a funnel cloud, but just something interesting that we saw today. We'll wrap up what we did see today, as well as talk about what the rest of the weekend has for us, as well as the fireworks forecast. That's all coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Jeff. A 9 News update now. A woman involved in a serious wreck this week in Watson has died. State police say 19-year-old Lolene Collier died last night of the injuries she sustained from that crash. It happened on Thursday just north of LA 64 in Livingston Parish when her car was hit by an 18-wheeler. Officials say impairment was not a factor in the crash. A fire at Baton Rouge General today caused the hospital to call for a temporary shelter in place. It happened just after 10 this morning at the General's Bluebonnet location. St. George fire officials say a propane bottle being used to heat tar on the roof caught fire. The fire was contained to a small portion of the roof and was quickly put out. No injuries were reported in the incident. In Livingston Parish, this 4th of July weekend is playing host to Cajun Country Jam. For the first time, the event was also home for the Dukes of Hazzard reunion. Even with controversy surrounding the show and some of its symbols, hundreds of fans showed up for the meet and greet and other fun. Organizers say it's a great place to see some classic TV stars.
We got a little rain at this time, but hey, I got to tell you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't stop Livingston Parish. They'll just grab a P-row and just grab a seat. It's just a better seat in the house. But, I mean, where else can you get finer entertainment than Tracy Lawrence, Mark Chestnut, Gillis Silo, LaRue, Van Broussard? It's going to be a huge day.
A huge day indeed. The Cajun Country Jam continues tonight with a fireworks show and performance by Tracy Lawrence. Well, today's nasty weather didn't stop folks in Point Capee Parish from having a good time out on the water. In this video, you can see a few lightning strikes here out on False River. They're out there somewhere, but there were still plenty of boats out there as well for the 33rd annual 4th of July boat parade. It went on as scheduled despite the threat of severe weather. Boaters were awarded prizes in categories like Best Decorated and Most Patriotic. And tonight, here in Baton Rouge, a pair of firework displays are still on schedule. Events leading up to tonight's main event are already underway in the downtown area. At LaBerge, pre-fireworks fun will start in the next hour or so. The fireworks on the levee are scheduled for 9 o'clock, and at LaBerge, the show starts at 9:30. If you're heading out to shoot or watch those fireworks, don't forget about your furry friends at home. If you're leaving your pets at home, it's best to leave them in a room with the door closed. You can also leave the TV or radio on to distract them from the fireworks. Generally, if your dog gets nervous when it storms, they'll probably be just as upset when those fireworks are popping. 4th of July celebrations are in full swing across the country as well, but this year there's extra security in place after an FBI warning about potential terror threats. Kenneth Craig has the details.
The nation is celebrating its 239th birthday in a state of high alert. Red, white, and blue were on full display at the annual 4th of July parade in Washington, D.C. Police on bikes and motorcycles patrolled the parade route, and thousands of visitors passed through screening checkpoints to gain access to the National Mall for the Smithsonian Folklife Festival. The party is in full swing in Philadelphia, the birthplace of the Declaration of Independence. Several law enforcement agencies are working together to keep people safe.
So it's not so much what we know that concerns us, but what we might not know.
In New York, about 3 million people are expected to line the East River for the Macy's fireworks show. 7,000 extra police officers are keeping a watchful eye over the crowd. Eileen Doda welcomes the extra safety measures.
All under control. There's a lot of cops around and they're surveying the whole area.
Security has been increased because of concerns about an attack by so-called lone wolf terrorists. There hasn't been a specific threat, but police aren't taking any chances.
I can't live in fear. It's, the holiday weekend. We're here to celebrate, and we're going to continue on with as our plans.
While concerts and fireworks are planned well into the evening, authorities want everyone to stay on guard. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
And for people heading to beaches along the East Coast this weekend, there are some different safety concerns. In North Carolina, recent shark attacks and close calls have people being extra cautious around the water. In the last month, there have been a total of 10 attacks in the Carolinas. That's more than the two states typically see in an entire year. Experts say attacks aren't usually on purpose, but to see this many so close together is unusual.
Any shark bite, I'll preface, is pretty rare, is a rare occurrence. To have all these bites occurring recently is very unusual. When your hands and feet are splashing, this looks like fish bellies to them. They realize they made a mistake and spit us back out again.
Lifeguards say rip currents are also a major concern this weekend, so they have also increased patrols. Well, coming up next, the Southern Lab Kittens are hoping to build on a state championship appearance. They're the subject of tonight's Sportsline Summer Camp. But first, one man's cross-country road trip is way more than just a sightseeing tour. We'll have his story right after the break. Stay with us.